It's the Friday Doodle Diary. It's Mary. It's Friday. And it's breaking news on my phone. I was just recording this and my phone buzzed, which interrupted it. My Twitter app is alerting me that Susan Bennett is following me. Susan Bennett, voiceover artist and singer. Most of you know me as the voice of Siri. Is following me on Twitter. We've made it! You earned a drink. Oh, goodness. What if I died here and now choking on coffee? Hello. It's Friday. I am drinking coffee and nursing my sweet voice, which got busted up this weekend. My sister was in town, hence the skip in Doodle Diary videos. You know. My sister's visiting. We had fun. She likes to have fun. We had many a late nights playing gestures. So if I sound a little hoarse, I'm actually a little person, okay? Not like a little person. I'm normal sized person. Oh dear, don't go into this corner. Read a comment, Mary. Read a comment. Okay, here's a comment. Here's a question from Pixel Heart on the previous video. Pixel Heart asks, hey, that's a statement. I love your videos, both on your main channel and this channel. That was another statement. Question's in there somewhere. I loved your video about art theft. Question? I was wondering if you could maybe make a video or give advice for aspiring artists about fan art and intellectual property. All right, she goes on to say, I want to do fan art on YouTube or on a YouTube channel. Should I take something into account? Directly selling fan art and copying images is obviously illegal, but people still sell their original fan art. So, is there a way to do it legally? And I can't find any info about YouTube since you can technically make money off of fan art by making videos. I thought I'd ask you since you're a professional artist on YouTube. Thank you. That is a very good question. So let's turn to our legal panel. Hi, my name's Mary Doodles. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm willing to give some legal advice. Welcome to another episode of I'm Not a Lawyer. I'm going to say ultimately, and remember, I'm not a lawyer, but according to this non-lawyer, I would advise you to not sweat it. That is a legal term. So fan art and legalities, that's a tricky thing. It's not a tricky thing. The internet has enabled artists to express themselves in every single way, shape, and form and share it with the world. Fan art comes from a place of love, ultimately. It's, for artists, it's a great place to start training. There's, in the career of creating anything, you have this phase of replicating. When I was learning how to play guitar, I was 13 years old, and I would just play Beatles songs all the time. I didn't start by writing my own masterpieces. I started by replicating the masterpieces of others. And as an artist, I did the exact same thing. I was drawing Pokemon characters out of comic books. In art class, we had a project. We had a chapter called Master Match, where you look at a piece that a master artist has done and you try to replicate it. It's a great way to figure out how does this work. It trains you to hear the song a certain way. It trains you to create a painting in a certain way. And then you take what you've learned from this phase of replicating other people's works, and then you apply that to your own ideas, and your own unique original voice comes through. So this is a normal thing. Copyright came about to protect artists and creators. It's protecting the person who, let's say, they sketch a character that's a young teenage boy who's like bitten by a radio. No, this is a bad example because contract things. I don't know the full story there. Artist sketches out a character. Company says that's a really cool character, and then they make a whole comic book. They make a whole movie. They make a whole series on it, and the company makes millions. And the person who initially came up with the idea is left with nothing. That is a thing that has happened in the past. And the idea of copyright is to protect that. So let's say you as an artist make your own artwork and then you start seeing that artwork on t-shirts. Well, hey now, you deserve a cut of that because you created that. Makes sense. Now when we get into fan art, it gets a little wishy-washy and weird because on the one hand, let's say your fantastic, whimsical take on Mickey Mouse riding Donald Duck into battle against Gandalf riding Saruman. That's a weird picture. There's some copywritten characters in there. So technically, I guess those characters are copywritten, except you've repurposed them now and created something totally new with them. And maybe you're making a statement using these characters. You have now taken something that already exists and you're expressing it with your own voice. That's not weird to sell originals of that one, those kinds of paintings. Prints even, I think you're safe with selling prints in that realm. It's a strange thing. It really is a strange thing. And I say don't sweat it because there's fan art galore all over the internet. And there are people selling not only originals, but duplicates involving copywritten characters. The key is that it's your voice. You are taking something that already exists and expressing it in your own unique, personal way. You are not replicating the exact same thing. I don't know. It can be weird. I don't know of any examples of fan artists online in recent history who've gotten into trouble doing anything with that or selling their work. I don't know. If you do know, if you've heard of somebody getting busted, the fan art police kicked down their door and is charging them a lot of money now, let us know. Leave a comment, links to articles or anything like that, because that is interesting to me. I will say, if let's say you are doing paintings of Mickey Mouse, Disney's probably not going to bother with you that much unless you start making millions off of it. Then they're going to get interested. No one really cares about to sue artists. That's on paper not a good idea. The point of suing somebody is to get money from them. So unless you're making a lot of money, you're probably not in trouble. I don't know. That is an interesting question. And I think the idea of copyright is slowly changing and slowly shifting, especially as more people are incorporating the internet into their day-to-day lives and into how they create things. You know, maybe 15 years ago, the idea of taking a file and then copying it and giving a copy to a friend was like, whoa, buddy, that's like taking a DVD off a shelf. And now that perspective is shifting. I, for one, you know, if I had no access to internet and I made my paintings and then I walk down the street and I see somebody else made a replica painting of my own thing, I'd think that's weird. That's gross. However, on Instagram, I do see, people tweet me their own versions of my paintings, and that is so flattering. It really is. It's very flattering to know people look at my stuff and then they try to replicate my stuff, as I did long ago with artists and musicians I adored. And that's wonderful. And I am a part of somebody's step in learning how to make more things. That's beautiful and wonderful. And so I see people on Instagram tag me in images where they've duplicated my own work. And sometimes they even credit in the comments, which is super cool. And I have no problem with that. The way I see it, fan art is almost like free advertisement, especially if they're crediting me with it. And so there's almost like an etiquette to it. If you are drawing characters that are not your own, maybe give a mention like it's from this series or it's from this artist, especially if it's not a Disney type, but if it's another artist on your level on the internet. People might not know about it. It's almost a way to give somebody a free shout out. I think companies are aware of that and they're not gonna give you too much guff about making fan art on YouTube. Unless you're a millionaire by doing it. And if that happens, let me know how you achieve that, because I need some tips. I hope that was helpful and informative. I'm gonna get going and do some more paintings, give more legal advice to people, but thank you very much for watching. If you have any thoughts or questions or comments, leave a comment below and I will see you next week. Bye. And then it felt that it's the end with all the meth around it. but it emerged victorious. It was meth resistant. Hashtag MRSA. And you click, don't click the link. Ah!